From the moment the teaser for this show came out, I was sold. Then the trailer came out, which was outstanding. From that only, I could say this will be the best Indian show ever. But after watching it, can I say it again? Let's find out. Hello guys, I'm Nona, and today we'll be talking about the latest Indian web series that came out called Rocket Boys on SonyLIV, written and directed by Abhay Pannu. As I said before, I was looking forward to watching this. The trailer was outstanding, and personally I've heard the names of Homi Bhabha, the father of nuclear science in India, Vikram Sarabhai, the father of Indian space research, APJ Abdul Kalam, what they all did. We have read this in our textbooks but heard little about them, that's it. We don't know the nitty-gritty about these things. The West has been making movies and series about their inventors, their scientists, the things they have done. But in India, we haven't done that in mainstream, the way this show does it. I'm so happy that this show exists. I want to talk about this show episode by episode, but before that, I'll give you my general overview. Look-wise, cinematography, outstanding. They have captured the world and the era amazingly. Every episode has a long take, which lasts for almost 2 minutes. The background music is great. The acting is outstanding. Jib Saab just nailed it. I just love the intro sequence of the series, and I didn't skip any of them. I watched it in every episode. It was so good. The story is amazing, but the writing is solid. The way they have treated the subject matter, it is dramatized, it is cinematic. There's no doubt about that. If you just Google some things after watching the show, you'll find out they have changed things around, and that's understandable. They want to make a mainstream show, not a documentary style biography. And after watching the show, you understand what they all went through, the difficult time period they lived in, they worked in. They saw a world war, the Indians' independence movement, then the Indo-China war, and they overcame all these adversities and still did something incredible for the country. And that's inspirational. So now if you haven't seen the show, stop this, go watch it and then come back, because now I'll go episode by episode and talk about minor spoilers. And if you're finding value in this, do the like button so the video reaches to more people. Now episode 1, called War and Peace. The first 5 minutes are just amazing, just sets up the tone very well. From there we go back in time and start the whole backstory. The conflict is set. The mood around that time of war is captured very well. You feel that urgency. The arguments between the characters are so real and so well done. And within the first 15 minutes, you're hooked to the show. In the backstory, we see, how the World War has affected them. They were studying abroad, they were working abroad, but all came back to India. And in India also, the freedom struggle is going on. There's just religious tension. And that's just so shocking. As a scientist, you want a calm environment to research, to work on something, but there's just so much going on around you that you cannot close your eyes. You have to be a part of it. We meet Vikram Sarabhai, doing experiments in Cambridge. Then he comes back home. Then how his family supports him to send him to Bangalore to work under C.V. Raman. And the first episode is a coming together of Homi Bhabha and Vikram Sarabhai. The freedom struggle becomes a part of their lives. That part is seen where Homi Bhabha gives it to the British general. That was amazing. And the ending of the episode of them, removing the Union Jack and putting the Indian flag up there, I felt something. It was definitely over the top, but I don't mind it because it made me feel, and that's more important. Coming to episode 2, it's called It's Like Gravity, and this episode was very funny. So many comedy scenes which I wasn't expecting from this show, honestly. The chemistry between both the leads was amazing. They worked so well off each other. And in this episode, we get introduced to the love angles for both of the characters. And I like that, there was a certain depth to all of them. It was not like, oh, we are in love, that's it. I'm a scientist and you can come along. No, she also have her own identity. And the whole thing of, their unit getting shutting down and they have to raise money for it. And you see the struggle they had to face, It was not easy for them to just experiment and research and like that. No, they have to be more than just a scientist. They have to find ways to fund it. They have to overcome their hardships. And we see how a conflict grows up by the end, and they part ways. Again, the arguments between them were so real, so good. You see how both of them had different mindsets. And watching the show makes you look up something on Google, but then you're like, if I get a spoiler or something, I don't want to look up anything right now because I'm into the story. So let's wait. Episode 3 was called The Greater Good, and this was more focused on the individual growth of both the characters. For Homi Bhabha, we get a backstory. We understand what his dream is, what his motivation is. And by the end of the episode, that dream really comes true, but he can never show it to his father. Vikram is dealing with love. He wants to convince Mrinali, and he's struggling in that. And we see there's a constant parallel going on between both the characters and how both of them are inspiring each other through their words they had in the previous episode. They might be far away, but they are still linked. With Vikram, there was this relationship build up going on. Mrinali had a different idea of how she wants to live, her dreams. And definitely, I was expecting more of science stuff, but I understand why this drama is important to understand the characters better. These things help to build depth for each lead character. There were cinematic liberties taken, something which feels not realistic, feels a lot of dramatized, but you go along with it anyway. Now, episode 4 was a tryst with destiny. Now, this episode starts with the incident of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and we see, how Homi is lost now, having lost his father, he's in depression, he doesn't come out, he's lost in his own world. In this episode, India achieves independence. We see the night of 15th August 1947, and as the nation is advancing, the characters are advancing too. Homi wants to work on atomic energy. Vikram wants to work on this textile institute, and we also get to know more about Raza and his backstory, what he's going through, and you understand his side also. He came from very underprivileged childhood and he made it in science. So you understand his jealousy with Homi, who had so much money and big house and everything with him. We also get a different side of independence. We have always seen the struggle, the freedom fighters fighting for it, and we are finally achieving it. But we're getting the other side of it. What were the common people, the scientists, what they were up to, and how they saw the independence according to their eyes. Definitely, when the flag is hosted and you hear the speech of Jawaharlal Nehru, you get goosebumps. And by the end, we finally get APJ Abdul Kalam. What a ending. What a ending to the episode. Now, episode 5 is called The Outsider, which can be many people. It can be Raza, it can be the reporter who has come to Raza, who's a spy for CIA. It can be Vikram, because he's trying to bring technology into this old textile industry. He's the odd one out here. And it also could be the PhD doctor who comes in life of Vikram, who's an outsider. Now, in this episode, we get into a lot of politics. And again, we see what all scientists had to do at that time. It was not easy, served on a platter for them. And nothing to take away from the scientists in the West. But when we see their films about how their journey became and how they invented something or discovered something, in comparison, it feels so easy. Whereas we had to struggle at every point of time. Now there's a tension rising between the characters. There can be a cheating angle too. And that scene, between Vikram and Minali, that, oh, you stay, you hold off your dream, first raise the kid. That kind of reminded me of the Great Indian Kitchen. And that also shows, a different side of Vikram, who is, raised in a patriarchal world. In this episode, Pipsi is also going through a lot, played by the wonderful Sabha Azad. Now, my expectation was the show will be about, how we build up to, making a rocket. But at this point in time in the show, it feels like we are diverted. Even the characters are diverted from their, real dreams. The drama is really high at this point, and you're not sure, how many things happening really happened or they just added it. I'm sure after some days there'll be videos on YouTube telling what was real and what was not. But definitely you reach at a point where you start to questioning things. Now, episode 6 was called a democratic process. Again, we get into more hardcore politics now between the scientists themselves. And there's always this dilemma, right? That science needs time. They need money to make something, to create something that will help after a long period of time. It's a long game. It's not like today you do something, you invest money, and tomorrow you'll get something. No, it takes time. But by the end of it, it will be very profitable. But everyone cannot think long term, For many people, it's about today or tomorrow. That's it. So, when people question why so much money is being spent on research and everything, whereas people are dying of hunger, how can you justify that? And that's sort of the point the show raises also. Again, it's a parallel for both Homi and Vikram. For Homi, they are spending so much time to build the nuclear reactor. For Vikram, it's the mill workers. They are not happy that machines are coming and taking up their job. They cannot see the far vision about that. And both the characters are going through a crisis. Now, as I said before, I saw that affair coming for a long time. And in this episode, they play with the editing. We cut to a later shot, then we come back as a reveal to show what happened when Vikram gives a speech and all the workers understand. And then we see the affair happening and he didn't go for the dance show. We are 6 episodes in. Where is APJ Abdul Kalam? Where's the rocket? Like, what's happening? I'm worried at this moment. Just 2 episodes left. Are we not doing that in this season? Is there season 2 also coming? I'm confused. Moving on to episode 7, we are at war. I was worried, but finally in this episode, APJ Abdul Kalam shows up and we finally get on track with making the rocket. Finally, the nuclear reactor is ready, but something goes wrong. They have to fix it. And again, I don't know if it's true story or not. The drama is really high there. He went inside in the swimming pool and fixed things, Again, I don't know if it was real or not. But when I see it, it feels little out there. The personal lives of both the characters are in turmoil. Now, definitely, I had expectations of more scientific stuff in the show than the drama and the family side of it. But I get the challenge in that also, because it can become too heavy for the viewer and they may get disconnected. So I understand why they have to, blend everything in. And by the end of this episode, we are back at the start. Will they make atomic bomb or not? And with just one episode to go, I'm wondering, will I get satisfied or we are getting a season 2? Now, episode 8, A New Dawn. By this point, I definitely felt the show dipped for me a bit. The thriller angle to all of this, the CIA agent, the conspiracy, all of that became too much for me. And the way, the episode ended, it was kept very open and very weird ending to the show. I kind of felt the story is over, but it feels like no, there's a season 2 also. And it kind of was very underwhelming and I was not happy. But we finally got the rocket launch. We finally see what they went through again that day. So many things happened, but they finally achieved it. Maybe I think the problem was I wanted the rocket thing to be the goal, whereas the show treated it as the checkpoint. And I think that's where the difference happened. And by the end, I was like, okay, now time to go to Google and look up things. Now reading about Homi Bhabha's death, it definitely feels there are some things going on there. It's not clear. It can be some conspiracy behind all of this. America is famous to do that. They'll never learn. So I understood why that ending, but still it was not them doing that conspiracy thing, but the way it was done, because you ended the season and the episode so weirdly. I posted my concern on Twitter and I got a reply from the producers, Nikhil Advani himself, that there is a season 2, and that actually clears out a lot of things, why that ending, what they were trying to do there, and now it makes sense to me. Cannot wait for season 2, where the story goes. Hopefully more science stuff, more what they did when they tried the first atomic bomb. Now Homi Bhabha died in 66 and Vikram Sarabhai died in 71, and how the legacies continue with the new generation. That's how they ended the last episode also. And throughout the show, we always saw Vikram Sarabhai writing letters and we hearing him saying it. But in the last episode, finally we saw Homi Bhabha writing a letter. So that came a full circle in a way. So guys, that was my journey through the 8 episodes of this show of season 1. Season 2 is on the way. Cannot wait for it. Do let me know what are your thoughts in the comments below. Did you like this format of going episode by episode? I feel this way it gives you more time to appreciate each episode and what that episode tried to do, instead of just combining everything together and just saying your thoughts about it, because this show deserved that. Not every show you can just sit for every episode and think how they did it, but this show is on another level. Now the final thing, is this the best Indian show ever? I'll not say the best, but one of the best.
Through channel membership, you can support this channel and help me continue this journey ahead, and in turn you get various perks. To know more, click on the join button. For more information, check out the community page.
So guys, that's the video. Thank you for watching. If you like it, the thumbs up button, share this video in the comments your thoughts. If you haven't subscribed yet, check out the videos. If you like them too, do subscribing, and I'll see you next time.